This video is brought to you by me. For as low as $1 a month, you can support the channel directly and help me keep doing what I love. Thanks for keeping the channel going. Physics. They're an underrated part of gaming. Whether they're bringing Jimmy Hopkins crashing back down to Earth after falling out of the girl's dorm, or they're surprisingly absent when you chop a Minecraft tree, physics in gaming teaches you how the game you're playing works and how objects and actions interact with each other. But what if physics was the game? Mercury Meltdown. Back when the PSP launched, it had a launch window title called Arthur McLean's Mercury, a physics-based game where you guided some Mercury to a destination. Since the game was rushed out pretty quickly due to trying to get it out within the system's launch window, a lot of ideas and novelties were scrapped. Later, with a bigger development cycle and the departure of Arthur McLean himself, Mercury Meltdown revived a lot of those cut ideas and reintroduced them as a bigger director's cut kind of pseudo-sequel with much more content. I played this game to death on my PSP, which is originally where I fell in love with it. Its cel-shaded art style made the Mercury and levels pop off the screen, while also making it easy to determine where the edges of your Mercury were, letting you avoid a mishap with the edge of the stage. But today we're playing Mercury Meltdown Remix, a PS2 port of the PSP game that has even more content, over 200 levels. I'm not going to pretend that Mercury reinvents the wheel. In fact, at first glance, you're probably thinking that this resembles a top-down monkey ball, tilt-a-board to help you navigate an object to the end goal. But where Monkey Ball expertly crafts levels for a consistently solid object, the ball with a monkey in it, Mercury asks you to navigate levels with a material that shifts between states of matter. Sometimes you'll be maneuvering a liquid, other times you'll be rolling a solid ball around, but this alternating density is where the creativity lies and where I think this game sets itself apart. Alternating from solid to liquid keeps the game from feeling redundant if you played other games like Monkey Ball or Marble Blast. While those games have their own levels of precision, Mercury takes it to a different level. Having to control a puddle makes the game challenging in its own unique ways. There are times when you're allowed to make mistakes, but a lot of the game and level completion comes down to not only making it to the end, but also getting a certain percentage of the Mercury to the finish line. So instead of just slamming the analog stick forward to make the ball roll, you're going to be moving your liquid slowly and deliberately like you're trying to melt butter to coat a pan. And I think that's a cool differentiator. The fact that the Mercury can shift states from hot and more slippery to cold and slower and thicker to solid spheres within each stage gives a lot of variety to the levels you'll be playing. Not every level is just to make it to the end qualifier, but rather to get there you're going to need to complete a certain set of objectives like opening doors by changing your Mercury's color or collecting keys essentially to get through it. To progress through the game, there are specific laboratories, which are just sets of levels that must be completed to a specific point to unlock more labs and more levels. I think my favorite kind of puzzle in the game was the kind that had you slicing up the Mercury into smaller pieces, to then paint each of the pieces specific colors to match and mix into required colors to unlock doors. And then of course there are levels where you have to shift from liquid to solid in order to ride rails to reach different areas, reminiscent of the real-life Marvel game Screwball Scramble. In my experience, the challenge was less of a curve and more came from introducing mechanics I was worse at employing. I was really into some of the mechanics and some others I was just awful at, and to me that lets you hit a stride with a bunch of levels and then hit a wall. But luckily, because not every level has to be completed to continue onto new levels and laboratories as I just stated, you can move on if you're stuck. And let's say you mastered the mechanics pretty easily, if the main challenges aren't difficult enough for you on each level, there's extra collectibles to find that can unlock new multiplayer game modes and skins for your Mercury. There are definitely times when you feel like you need a ruler and pencil to enjoy this game and complete it, but I think if you're looking at this video, you know if you're going to be into it or not. If you're a fan of different physics-based puzzle games, this might be your newest jam. But if you're not into this, you're probably going to be acting like SpongeBob trying to look at two different pages in a book at once, eyes looking two different angles trying to navigate two puddles around each other trying not to combine them. I wouldn't hold it against you either if you wrote this game off because of its funky art style, but if you give the game a chance and look past its clip art looking menus, you'll find a genuinely interesting game that challenges your dexterity. I will say I played this game on PS2, which is called Mercury Meltdown Remix. I think the pick up and put down nature of the game makes this a much more ideal game to be played on the go, on your PSP or Vita, on a commute or on a car trip. Even with the added features of rumble and camera control with the right analog stick, they don't make me feel like this game necessarily needed to be ported to PS2. Rather, I would have just preferred these extra levels get added into the original release of Meltdown instead. It's definitely not a game for everyone, but if it is your thing, Mercury is very much going to be your thing. And while I know this video is shockingly short, I just wanted to make it to call attention to this unique puzzle game that tried something different, and in my opinion, it did some really cool stuff with it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like on it. Let me know in the comments what some of your favorite physics-based puzzle games are and which ones I definitely need to check out. If you want to see more videos by me, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to make sure you never miss an upload of mine. If you want to directly support the channel, you can go to the description below and check out my Patreon. For $1 a month, you can get access to some exclusive content and help keep the channel going at the same time. I'd like to take a minute to thank my higher tier patrons, Sebastian Pereira, Andrew Lang, and 8-Bit Jesus. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.